Hey guys, this is Vid with some more high Mythic mono black aggro gameplay. We have a slightly altered list to account for all the Golos. We're now running 4 mainboard drill bit, and we've done some changes to the amounts of some different things in our sideboard and mainboard to help account for this. Okay, we'll be on the play, and we have a pretty okay hand. We don't have a turn 2. We have a good potential turn 3 and 4. Lots of flyers if we're up against Golos. Opponent's mulliganing. Looks like twice. Typically a good sign. Lead on our gutter bones. Opponent on steam vents doesn't tell us much. Hopefully our gutter bones lives to enable these spawns. Okay. Yeah, spawn is definitely the clear play here. Unfortunately, we drew the knight late. It would have been a good turn 2 play. Okay, so we're not up against Golos, I don't think. We're up against something else. Some kind of teamer deck. I'm not sure what, though. But that is something we want to keep off the battlefield. So we will just play another knight. A spawn, I mean. And we'll just clear the Domri. We don't want our opponent to get any excess mana. We don't want them to start killing our creatures. And we still have a really fast clock incoming. In fact, if we draw a land, we just kill our opponent next turn. Not 100% sure what our opponent's doing. All I know is their mana situation is rough. Questing Beast. We have 5/10. We still kill them. We kill them with a Rankle. If we draw a land, so we'll just eat the 4 for now. We won't take the trade. And we won't be able to win here, but we will be able to get the opponent really close to dying. Just play Spawn of Mayhem Trom. And we probably will take the block here just in case there's something crazy. Yeah, opponent scoops it up. So it looks like it's just some kind of, I'm just gonna guess that it's a Gruul deck splashing blue for something, and we'll sideboard accordingly for that. So we will cut out our drill bits for now until we see that our opponent's doing something more that we want to interact with. We'll bring in Noxious Grasp as a way to deal with those questing beasts, and we'll just go up in Orzhov Enforcer. Actually, he didn't play anything that game that we can really get with Orzhov Enforcer. He only played the questing beast and the Domri, and that's all the info we have to go off of. So if I knew it was a Gruul deck, I would bring in the Enforcers, but since I'm less sure, it might just be more appropriate to be a little more proactive. So I'll just bring in a Midnight Reaper. Could keep in the drill bits with all that green mana. Opponent's definitely bringing in stuff like Veil of Summer. And I think we're better off just playing more creatures. Okay, very nice hand here. We have a turn 1, a turn 2, and a turn 3. Important thing to note here is that Midnight Reaper only draws on non-tokens. It's something I see mistaken a lot on paper. But the Amass token does not draw you cards. It doesn't come up a ton, but it's something that's good to keep in mind. Go ahead and attack. If the opponent wants to trade, that's good. If not, we'll drop Reaver. So it does look like some kind of teamer deck, maybe Oko, but that is okay. Last game was a good example of how bad the mana is right now in Standard. And I think that contributes to, as one of the biggest reasons that Golos is so good. It looks like we have Oko. He's probably going to make his food a 3/3. Noxious Grasp is timely. I have to think about whether I want to use it on the token or on the Oko. We could also develop these Midnight Reapers and the Ayara. We can't really attack into this 3/3, so if we Noxious Grasp the Oko, that means we have to not attack and hold back and wait until we can start rankling next turn, which honestly isn't the worst thing in the world. The alternative is playing one of these and getting them Oko'd, and I don't think that's very good. So we will Noxious Grasp the Oko and just pass turn. go on the wrinkle plan. Royal Scions. Sarkhan. Okay, so here have to consider our options. We could develop any of these, or we could just be mana efficient and play Wrinkle and eat the goose. It's not super strong this turn, but it does set up next turn to be really good if they can't answer the Wrinkle. So we'll just attack them. They can jump with the goose. If they don't jump, then we can do some really nasty stuff to their board. But they might as well jump because they're going to sack it anyway. They don't? Okay. So we will definitely accept this deal. Since we have a Wrinkle online, we'll just discard our Priest. And we will sack the token in case we draw another Reaver to get another body. Interesting that the opponent wants the goose. Wonder what they're up to on that front. It's like opponent's trying to get their 4th mana. I guess that's why they kept the goose. Play Oko, probably make a food. He could make Wrinkle into a 3/3. So this definitely looks like a matchup where we bring in Elder Spell, now that we've seen a little bit more of their deck. Provided we don't just win here. I think our best bet here is to ignore the Planeswalkers and just go for the kill. Here we will discard the Midnight Reaper. It's going to be a little too slow, and we really want to pressure our opponent. Yeah. Opponent's stuck on lands, I don't want to draw them cards. And we'll just follow this up with a Spawn of Mayhem so that we can threaten lethal. We'll sack the Reaver. Opponent's thinking, turn Spawn into a 3/3 and sack their food. I think that technically keeps them alive. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, they could do that. That would keep them alive. But it's not a winning move. We do want to watch this and keep it from ulting if our opponent does stabilize. Opponent finds their 4th land. And they have a Wicked Wolf. So they're going to sack a food to kill Spawn. And then turn Wrinkle into a 3/3. That is going to leave them without blockers. And we can make them sack this. Well, I guess not if they Oko, of course. Okay. Well, we don't want the Scions to ult. So we will hit them and hit opponent, put them at 5. Play Yara, get the drain on. And next turn we can start sacking Gutter Bones for card draw. Opponent discards a land. It's a good sign, I think. Keeping our opponents off their 5th land seems to be a good plan of action, as they have been having to discard their 5 drops. Oh, they do get their 5th land drop. Gotcha. Okay. So what we're going to do here, we can't attack very effectively into that, but we do want to draw cards, so we'll start by drawing with Gutter Bones. We could actually attack first, maximize chances of winning. Thing is he can go up to 7, so we could hit him with everything. He blocks this, he takes 4. Then we need to do 3, not impossible. So here's what we're gonna do. Yeah, okay. We'll go ahead and get our damage in now while we can. So we'll attack with both of these. And we will just sack the one he blocks. Oh, it's green now. We can't do that anymore. Did not think about that. That has not come up. Good to know though. But it's okay, we can bring the Gutter Bones back. Then we'll play Knight, it'll get a counter. This is very treacherous. What we really need is a Rankle. To close this game out. Ditches a land. What do you have in your hand? Might just keep making food here. He could morph the Yara to be safe. But I wouldn't be surprised if he just keeps making food. You have to keep this in mind. Do not want this to happen. Drawing 4 cards would make the end of the game, for sure. Okay, we won't show our land just yet. Let's think about our attacks. He has to block here, or he's dead. And we can sack Knight. We also could just kill the wolf. We do want to keep this from ulting still, but our opponent's at 3 or 6 basically. 2, 4, 5. Oh, it's so close. Okay, we only get 1 draw though, and if it's not a creature, we can't kill them. So what we'll do... Do we? We attack with everything else. Block here, we do 4. He goes to 2. No, that's not. That is a win. Okay, so we'll attack here because he has to block. We'll attack here. So that he can't kill the wolf. He sacks the food to protect it. Just gonna keep him at a lower life total. We sack the Gutter Bones to draw a card, and we'll bring it back to drain him. Murderous Rider is really good. Finally deal with the Oko. Or we could deal with the wolf. Opponent's at 2 or 3. Okay, so we'll just kill the Oko. We'll just hold off till next turn. And next turn, we should have pretty much have the win because we can attack with both. He has to block the Knight. We hit him in for 2, puts him at 1, play Murderous Rider, he's dead. Or we could even just play Lazotep Reaver. We don't even have to attack actually, so let's just play out our stuff and drain him to death. Whew, close game. I know the life totals weren't close, but the board state was very, very close. GG opponent. Okay, next round we are on the play once again. We will mulligan this. We don't have any 1 or 2 drop creatures, which is pretty essential for this deck. Not much better, but it is an improvement. We can Reaver into Drill Bit, which, albeit a weak plan, is a plan. Opponent's playing Knights. Well, that makes this Reaver a nice body. Next turn we can maybe hit him with the Drill Bit, Gutter Bones. Maybe even Murderous Rider based on what they play here, how big of a threat they play. We will snap off that block. Interesting choice. So here I don't think we blow anything just yet. I think I actually just want to Drill Bit here. Next turn we can maybe Rider and Gutter Bones. Okay, Ember Cleave, Ember Cleave. 2 Fervent Champions and a Midnight Reaper. Opponent has 2 mana, only one of it is red. Those are ways away. He could play one of these. First strike, 1/1 doesn't matter that much. I think I might just take the Midnight Reaper. Opponent's hand is pretty weak in general. Can't really attack with that. Can get in with that, but not for long. Okay, so we'll play this. And we'll definitely wait to use our removal spell. Okay, he's gonna Legion Zendos. That's gonna show him what we have. Okay. That puts Gutter Bones away. Bones gonna attack with both. We will Rider the Black Lance Paragon, take 2. I could trade. I don't want to trade there just yet. I'm gonna wait and get my Murderous Rider online first. Make it hard for them to attack profitably. Opponent's not hitting their lands, and we are getting too many. It's kind of balancing out. They find their 3rd land, but it's not red, and that's what matters the most. Priest is nice. It'll help us break this board stall. Gets an Acclaimed Contender. Not as strong as just getting a land. As long as we keep them off Ember Cleave, we can hopefully start whittling them away with Priest. Okay, Knight isn't horrible. Not bad fodder to sack to Priest. We could keep it to pump it and block, but I really want to get this board state moving. Okay, another swamp. No attacks. Opponent's gonna be able to get a pretty big attack here. We just need to hope we can draw onto more gas. I think we're gonna have to actually chump. Let me think. 3, 6, 10. We go to 2. It's pretty low. Yeah, let's go ahead and chump on the 5/4. Hopefully we can pull like a Lazotep Reaver or something. Even another Murderous Rider would be pretty good. That's not quite what we need. That will be that game. Fortunately, we have a lot of really nice sideboard cards for this matchup. We're going to bring in Witch's Vengeance. Very nice. We're going to bring in a Cavalier, Legion's End, maybe Midnight Reaper. Let me see what we're taking out again. So the things we don't want are the drill bits. They're definitely not meant for aggro mirrors. Stuff like Priest and Rankle are very strong. Our Murderous Riders are a little bit weaker, especially when we're bringing in Witch's Vengeance, but I think they're necessary to deal with like our opponent's lords and things to that nature. So I think we're gonna just go ahead and stick with cutting one Lazotep Reaver to get to where we are. These are pretty good cards in the matchup too, the Midnight Reaper, the Orzhov Enforcer. I'm tempted to try to get more in. I think the second Cavalier might be better than the 4th Spawn of Mayhem. And I think we can go ahead and try this. There might be an argument to bring in more Enforcers. Or the Murderous Knights. I can't remember what they're called now. The 3/2 Knight that draws cards. But I like this setup for now. We'll keep this hand. It has a solid turn 1, a turn 2, and then a pretty good turn 3. work our way up to this Cavalier. Opponent will have a very hard time dealing with it. Goblin Knight. Honestly, I think we're okay with trading here. We can bring back Gutter Bones later. They can't. We're swinging for one. We're swinging for two. They swing for one. So this is fine. Gonna Legion Zenda, see what we have going on. Not gonna attack, so they will trade here for our Gutter Bones. That's fine. We skip our turn 3, but we have a good turn 4. Opponent has no pressure. Veteran. Well, this is Witch's Vengeance isn't really bad here. We probably might as well use it now before their knights get any bigger. Pretty timely. Opponent's at 4 cards, we're at 3. We kind of have another card here. They probably take our Cavalier with us, but our Spawn of Mayhem's also really potent. They do ultimately choose that. Opponent has a very painful mana base. And we just play this Cavalier, no sacking. We have a big old life linker body that will give us a Gutter Bones if it dies. Rankle is amazing. Yeah. And we'll just attack. No problems here. We'll make our opponent discard that last card. And we're looking pretty good here. Bring back a Gutter Bones. And probably go to next game. I don't think our opponent has any draw that saves them here. Make our opponent discard their last card, potentially. They will kill Cavalier, but that's not that big of a deal. I'm wondering if the trigger doesn't go on. I don't think we choose any modes here. Actually, I think we do draw a card here because it gives us lethal next turn with Rankle. We don't have guaranteed lethal next turn unless we draw a card there. But now we do, provided he can't kill him. Very nice. Let's go to game 3. I think we'll keep it pretty much as is. An Enforcer might be better than, say, like an Ayara. It's possible. It's possible. I think I will go ahead and do that on the draw. I'd rather get that Death Touch blocker out quicker as opposed to trying to grind out with Ayara. Sometimes our creatures just get way too big. Opponent's on the play for this last game, and we have a pretty okay hand. Again, no good turn 2, but we do have a good turn 3. 2 options for a turn 3. And we just got our turn 2, so pretty good stuff overall. This hand's going to require a little bit more grinding, but that's gonna be just fine. Opponent showcasing here why our monocolored deck works so well, because the mana for multicolor aggro decks is just really terrible right now. So Lather-Type Reaver is good, but now that we drew this Enforcer, I think I'm gonna play it first. I'd rather drop the Reaver after we get an Ayara down. And Enforcer trades a lot better with these Knights if he decides to try to pump them or something. If he attacks, we will block. In a heartbeat. We have a really strong, grindy hand here. Okay, well with that, we'll just block 1. Opponent's going to get a look at our hand, they're going to get to take something, but our hand is pretty resilient here. Even if they take really anything they take, we still have good plays. We'll play the 3-drop they don't take. Rankle's the only irreplaceable card. We're still a couple turns away from him, so it's really not that big of a deal. If I were my opponent, I'd probably take the Spawn of Mayhem, but the context of his hand also matters. And looks like opponent concurs. We'll snap that block off, make sure he doesn't get any counters. Play the land our opponent knows about, and we'll just drop the Ciara. And we're just going to build a wall of creatures and drain and sack, grind our opponent out to pieces. Embercleave is good, but we have a Rankle. Rankle is going to make life difficult for our opponent. So we'll get in with both of these, hold back Gutter Bones as a blocker, and we'll sack the Spirit, discard our Gutter Bones, and we won't draw any cards because it doesn't speed up our clock and our opponent's running tight on resources. We will sack the Spirit. Opponent has sack their creature that can grow. If opponent attacks here, we probably have to block this because I don't really want to eat 10 damage. So we'll probably just chump the Contender with Gutter Bones and then sack it to well, does this give trample? It does give trample. So it doesn't really matter. All we do is force. What we can do, actually, is move the Gutter Bones over here, and it forces him to put it on the smaller one so that it doesn't die. And then we just sack it anyway. So it's going to net him 4 less damage. And we get to draw a card. So that's pretty good. We are going to eat a lot of damage here, but we're not dead. And we are going to get to grind our opponent away to nothing. So we'll play Lazotep Reaver. We will sack its token and then kill the remaining creature. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, we can't kill our opponent. It's always good to make sure though. And we'll hold back a Yara because we're playing a long game here. We will choose to only sacrifice a creature here, sack the token. And then we will go ahead and right now murder our opponent's last creature. And that's probably going to be it. We get to kill any threat our opponent plays from this point on. And we have grinded them to nothing. Alright, we keep moving up the ladder. I think I have 1 game left in me for this session. We will go ahead and take the play. And this hand is a little awkward. We don't have a turn 2 or a turn 3 and a lot of lands. I think we have to ship it. This hand is pretty good. No turn 1, but we have 2 options for turn 2. We have a Drill Bit on 3 and a Rankle on 4. Pretty good. We just have to decide what we want to ditch. Probably one of our turn 2 plays. I think I'll ditch the Reaver, as it is the less flexible 2-drop. It works really well with Priest, but Orzhov Enforcer has more application in more matchups. Looks like we're probably up against Golos. Maybe one of the random green-black decks. Looks like it probably is a random green-black deck. Let's start by offering our opponent the trade. And then Drill Bit. Green-black adventure deck. Next turn, opponent's probably gonna like Order of Midnight, Foulmire Knight, or maybe just draw a card with Foulmire Knight. They're ways from Vivian. They do have the mana to get there. None of their creatures do very much. Actually, they can play Vivian next turn because of Paradise Druid. Let's not forget that. So let's go ahead and take out Vivian. I think she's the most problematic card there. Nothing else can handle Rankle, so I think we'll have a good time just grinding them out with Rankle. Opponent plays the land they drew. And just runs out the aggro Order of Midnight. Alright. So we're going to play Rankle. We're going to get in with both our creatures. And we will sack. We want to just get our opponent's board to nothing. So we'll trade and then we'll sack. Next turn we'll play a Reaver and do the same thing. But we don't need another land, so we can go ahead and discard here too. So we'll discard and sack. We will discard a swamp. We will sacrifice the spirit. Opponents have to choose between their flyer and their druid. They probably sack the flyer. Just grab it back with their other one. Pretty strong line. And then we're just going to feed our Reaver to our Rankle and hopefully just take care of the rest of our opponent's cards. Anything they put back in their hand, we're just going to make them sack unless they take the knight. So that's probably what they have to do. Take the knight and play it. Anything else is going to be real bad. Oh, well, I guess they can do both. Well, I don't know. I don't like that as much because then they're going to have to discard now. But you do you, opponent. You do you. We're just going to play out both of our Reavers and just ride this Rankle to victory, hopefully. We will go sacrifice. We will go discard. Nobody gets any resources ever. This opponent just gonna juggle these two Order of Midnights. It's kind of funny. Might be a way to grind their way back into the game. But they really they need to draw a way to deal with Rankle, because this Rankle is just gonna keep getting them lower every time we do this iteration. And now we can start attacking with the zombie army too. Increase the clock. And well, maybe less so now. Play knight. We'll go ahead and get in with both. Okay, trading. We're just trying to kill our opponent and keep them off resources. Keep them from playing any new cards. They do discard the Order of Midnight, so their last card in their hands is probably pretty good. This knight will be good. Yeah, they had to have pulled something pretty strong to let go of that loot. Maybe an answer to Rankle. Maybe another Vivian. An Innkeeper. Well, I stand corrected. Opponent's gonna, not jump at all. In that case, we are going to probably choose no modes here and just try to get the kill next turn. Hope they don't draw a way to kill Rankle here. I think that's our best bet to victory. There's an argument to make them draw there to make Murderous Rider not an out. But drawing them cards at all is risky because any adventure turns into like 3 cards. So I'm fine with this path. Looks like they did get a Murderous Rider. They're at 1 though. We have a lot of ways to do 1 damage. We have ERs. We have flyers. Lots of good stuff. That's not it, but this does let us 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, there's actually not much point to attacking in. We can just hold this back to block Love Struck Beasts. We just need to wait to draw a way to do 1 damage. We have several in our deck. Orzhov Enforcer can do it. Rankle can do it. Ayara can do it. Spawn of Mayhem can do it. Preferably before they gain life back. We don't have to worry about Murderous Rider anymore either, while our opponent's slow. It's definitely games like these that make me wish I played Fort Castle instead of 3. And it might be correct, but it's hard to say. The thing is, when you play 4, you increase the amount of hands you'll have that are just like 2 castles for your lands. And it's not that much of an increase, but I don't know how much of an increase that is compared to how much of an increase it is to have or not have it at this point in the game. I don't imagine the difference is very large. Opponent might make us fight there, I don't know. Just to gain some life. Just basically just means we have to have a Rankle. Just gotta do 2 damage, it's fine. A little bit, not it, but it might be able to buy us a turn. Probably get rid of the Questing Beast. Threatens us the most. We can block this and pump. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go to 8. Yeah, our next draw has to get us out of this, I think. Might not even be fast enough based on what else our opponent does. If they put counters here, they're gain 4. Yeah, it's looking pretty rough. We might have missed our chance when we didn't draw with Rankle on the last turn we had him. But again, at the same time, it could have easily just like drawn him into the Vivian sooner and killed it. It's hard to say what the right choice was. But I might have made the wrong one. Only lots of analysis could conclude that. Opponent swings, just the big guys. Well, we'll definitely take out the life linker. Well, I guess into the Murderous Rider. Okay. I think that's it then. He's going to gain 7 and we'll die in 2 turns. So that makes no draw possible. But that's alright. We'll go to the next game. So we're up against Green-Black Adventures. So we'll definitely bring in Noxious Grasp. Bring in Legion's End. We are going to cut Drill Bit for sure. And we will probably also cut some Lazotep Reavers. Maybe the Orzhov Enforcers as well, although I kind of like the Enforcers. They're pretty decent a lot of times. I think I like this kind of setup. There's argument to bring in Cavalier, but I think I prefer having like the spawns and the flyers, because they don't handle flyers very well. Okay, here we go into next round of this game. We have a pretty good turn 1, turn 2, and even a turn 3 with this hand. We'll definitely keep it. We don't got our bones. It is definitely better to play early as opposed to Knight of the Eben Legion. That is definitely something we want a Legion's End immediately. It is far too dangerous to let that thing sit around. Opponent had another one in his hand too, so we get a nice 2 for 1. Looks like opponent's on Rankle as well. Opponent plays a Paradise Druid. We'll follow it up with an Orzhov Enforcer. And a Knight. We're out of gas at this point, but we can start funneling our mana into Night at least. And we can even deal with Rankle pretty decently with this Enforcer. See if opponent got a land drop. Guess not. Playing Paradise Druid. Priest is pretty cool here. Let's go ahead and attack with everything. Opponent probably won't block. We could pump here, but I think doing 4, getting a counter is enough, and getting Priest online. I like the idea of that, because this puts pressure on them to do something about our Priest, as opposed to being proactive. Keeps them on the back foot. Because if they just play a Rankle here, it's not going to be able to do very much. Our last card in hand doesn't matter. They don't want to trade creatures with us. And they don't want to draw us cards, so Rankle's pretty bad. So I like pressuring them to Rider the Priest here. Just going to buy us time and get them lower on health. Opponent goes with Vivian minus to kill a Priest, maybe? We have 5, 6, 7, 8 damage. We can get our opponent to 2. Yeah, I think get our opponent to do hold up Murderous Rider for next turn, or get him to 3 because we're going to kill this Vivian. I like this. Can hopefully just clear the path with Murderous Rider. Opponent's leads in Caesar Rider. We're gonna have to leave both these back to block with. I guess I don't have to, but we'll definitely need to drop something for a blocker. That can work. So we'll go ahead and kill that. This is basically like killing the Paradise Druid, which is nice because it also shorts them on mana. We'll wait to play the Rider because we might just want to pull back the Gutter Bones. I think that is what we want to do. Well, we can. Because it attacks for the same as Murderous Rider, and all we care about is attacking right now. Opponent can deploy Rankle or their Love-Struck Beast, but they're at 2, which is not a good place to be. Just play the Rider as a blocker. Pretty good. That'll force me to only attack with this Enforcer. Trade, but we get a flyer that's going to be able to get in there and finish the job, hopefully. And we play Murderous Rider. Getting close. Getting close. Well, opponent stabilized that one last time, so we definitely can't be complacent. Opponent could just play Rankle as a blocker for our flyer. Would it be bad? This is again another game where I really wish I had that 4th castle. Looks like we're able to get in there with our flyer. So if we draw a Rankle, we just win. We draw a Swamp. If we attack with everything, he kills our Murderous Rider. And we either put him at 1 or kill his Paradise Druid. I don't hate that. I like this just because we can get Gutter Bones back, and we're basically trading our Rider for his Druid, which I think is a fine trade at this point in the game. Getting real low on resources in life, I want to limit my opponent's mana. I don't have any other way to spend my mana, so I might as well just pull my Gutter Bones back. Opponent's sitting at 3. Opponent plays Rankle, probably just holds him back as a blocker. We get a Grasp, which is nice. Whew, this is close. Okay. Well, I think this is what we have to do. We kill that. We attack in. Opponent blocks probably the Spirit. We get him down to 1. Or he kills the Gutter Bones and we bring it back. That's a lot better for us. He should really kill the Spirit. This will officially put our opponent at 1 and make him dead to a lot of things we have. Innkeeper's one of the things that could possibly bring him back. But he's too low to Murderous Rider or stuff, which is good. Or bring back Love Struck, so he's going to clog up the ground pretty quick. But we still only need to do 1 point of damage, and we have a lot of things that do that. Opponent could attack and make us sack the Gutter Bones, but that's very risky. And we draw a land, so we just pass. Have to hope for the best. If anything is going to make me go up to 4 castles, it's probably this set of games. But hey, it's the only way you can learn things sometimes. Even so, this doesn't necessarily mean we need to go up to 4 castles. But it is definitely points in the favor of it. You don't want to base too much of your deck changes off of one game, one set. But it's definitely noteworthy. Okay. Well, we don't have many options here. We just play the Reaver and wait. Hope to draw a way to finish off our opponent. We do want to take care of this Rider. We can triple block it. Maybe just double block, keep the Reaver. Opponent's playing a ton of stuff. He's going to get in with his creature that can't block. And the Rider. So I guess we just block with Gutter Bones and the token. It's a little bit better. We are running out of outs here, but they exist. They are not another swamp. And I think that's going to seal the deal because they're going to be able to start swinging way more than we can block. And I think no matter what we draw next turn, we can't win. I'll wait just in case I'm forgetting something, but I don't think so. I think that's probably it. We did learn some things. I'm definitely going to need to give some more analysis to the Rankle activations. I maybe should have drawn a card that last game. We'll have to run some numbers to see how true that is. And also maybe need to reevaluate running 4 castles versus 3. Maybe pull up a hypergeometric calculator and see the difference between opening hands and getting to like turn 6, turn 7. All good things to consider. We'll go ahead and take a jump here while we can. And draw our last card. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of decision-making analysis here on that last game. We saw here when I attacked with the Rankle, and I chose to not make him draw a card. The decision making between that was to reduce his chances of drawing an answer to Rankle. However, if we had made him draw, it would reduce the chances of him being able to play some of his outs because he couldn't cast Murderous Rider anymore from 2 health. So the question is, do we gain more chances of winning if we don't make him draw or if we do make him draw? We know from the outcome of the game that he drew a Murderous Rider and killed my Rankle, but just because it happened that one game doesn't necessarily mean that's always the case. But fortunately we have some useful tools that will help us figure out what the actual correct play was there. So, this is a deck from one day before I recorded the video, and it's going to be pretty representative of what our opponent was playing. Just looking at the list, it seems pretty similar to what our opponent was doing. So we're going to use this as a reference. So, in terms of ways to answer Rankle, our opponent has 4 Murderous Riders, 2 Rankles that they can just play and block with, 3 Vivians, and 2 Find Finalities. Now, we never saw our opponent play Find Finality. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt of it being in their deck, and we'll just ignore the Great Hinge, even though it technically could buy them another turn or 2. And we'll focus on clean ways to answer Rankle. Now, our opponent had played a Vivian, or we discarded it. I can't actually remember which, but there's a Vivian in their graveyard. That much is for sure. So we can take one of the Vivians out of the equation for the purposes of a calculation. So that means I've already predetermined this, that they had 41 cards left in their library between the cards they drew from Innkeeper and what they had on board and what was in the graveyard. So there's 41 cards left in the library, and this is just a calculator that we can use to figure out the chances of drawing certain things. Now, the number of successes in the population, the number of cards that can stop us here, are 4 plus 2, 6, plus 2 because one of these Vivians was in the graveyard, 8, and then plus 2 Find Finality, so 10. Now, in one instance, they get to draw one card to answer Rankle, and they have 10 answers, and this is the one that actually happened. And we want to find the likelihood of them actually drawing one. So in this instance, they have a 24% chance of drawing one of their 10 cards, which is low. More often than not, we're going to come out on top. So the decision point we made put us at a 75% chance to win, basically. And we got punished for that 24%. But that doesn't mean the other choice was incorrect. Let's see how it skews the data a little bit. In the second instance, they're going to, instead of drawing one card, they're going to get to draw 2 cards, but the successes are going to go down by 4, because at this point in the game, they had no Murderous Riders that they had played at this point. They're all 4 inside the deck. So we take the 4 from the successes, leaving only the 2 Rankles, the 2 Vivians, and the 2 Fine Finalities as outs to dealing with our threat. And this changes the chances to 25%. So it's actually almost exactly the same. They're very close, but the line we chose is actually slightly better. It's so close. And this isn't an exact perfect science, because we would also have to calculate the likelihood of them drawing a different adventure card and then drawing into the next thing. But the math is all going to work out approximately the same. So either way, we were about a 25% chance to win in that situation. And the decision line we chose actually does net a slightly better chance. Instead of drawing 2 cards, only drawing 1 and leaving all the answers in. We gain basically a 1% increase in chances of winning. So overall, we made the correct play, but it's always good to go back and analyze this kind of stuff. So the other thing I wanted to look at is Castle Locthwain. I was talking about in these games how I kind of wish I had the 4, because in both these games I flooded out to 7 lands and was left without my castle when I could been grinding out a lot more value if I had my castles out. So what this comes down to is wanting to run 3 castles instead of 4 to reduce the chances of us not having a good opening hand, thanks to having only castles for lands. And this is balanced against trying to make sure we have one whenever we flood out on 7+ lands. So we want to find the sweet spot of having enough but not too many, and there's a good way to quantify this, although it's difficult to say what the correct choice is. So first, let's start with what we have in the deck. So we have a 60 card deck, we have 3 castles at the moment, and our opening hand is 7 cards. The number that we don't really want is 2 or more, because that's whenever we're going to have a lot more hands that are having only tap lands, which takes away the purpose of our monocolored deck. So as you can see here, the probability of us having 2 or more Castle Locthwains when we're running 3 is about 3%. So this means 3 in every 100 hands is probably not going to be as good or even not keepable, thanks to it having too many castles. Now let's contrast this with 4, leaving everything else the same. Whenever we go up to 4, this probability here of drawing 2 or more goes up to 6%. So it's twice the increase. It's still a pretty low number. We're at 6 out of 100 instead of 3 out of 100. But what I would like you to keep in mind is this is 3 in 100 and 6 in 100 of every single opening hand we have. So over the course of a lot of games, you are going to have a noticeably increased amount of games where you're not able to keep your hand. It is slight, but we do want to contrast it against the late game. So let's say we are now at 14 cards. So let's go with, instead of 7, let's go for 14. So we keep our opening hand and then we draw 7 more cards. So this is late in the game. We hopefully hit 5, 6, 7 land drops. This is about when you want castle. And we'll have 3 and 4. Let's start with 3. And we want at least 1. That's our goal here. So once we get to the point where we want castle, our likelihood when we're running 3 to have at least 1, which is going to be this same thing here, greater than or equal to 1, is 63%. So over half the time. Pretty significant portion of the time. Next, let's try it by going up to 4. So at this really late stage in the game, it goes up to 74% versus 63%. So it's an increase of about 11% in these grindier games. So this means in the really grindy games, 11 out of 100 of them, you're going to hit your castle more times. So let me word this better. So 63 out of 100 times with 3, and 74 out of 100 times with 4. So that's 11 more games. Now that is a bigger increase in terms of getting it when we want versus having it when we don't want it. However, the thing you want to keep in mind is with our opening hand, we have those every single game, 100 out of 100 games. We're always doing the opening hand. These grindier games where we're worried about making sure we have one by a certain point, I feel like they are a lower representation of our matches. And it's to the point where I don't value this 11% increase compared to the 3% increase of keepable hands. This conclusion might not necessarily be correct, and other people have different opinions on how this should work. But this is kind of the math behind mine, and it actually reinforces to me that I want to keep 3, even though I did just have a couple games where I floated out and didn't get my castle. So both these games I think were good examples of where we made pretty strong choices and we made pretty good deck building choices, but we weren't rewarded for those. This will always be in the minority of games, and it's important that when these things happen that you reevaluate and you take time to just reconsider your choices, and this is what we've done here. And I think it's a critical part of becoming a better player. I do kind of wish that I had discovered that I made the wrong choice here, or the wrong choice on the castles, because then I would have a more clear line of improvement. But sometimes the data just reinforces your choices, and you have to keep making them, even though sometimes you don't always get rewarded. I hope you've enjoyed this and that it's been helpful. We'll see you guys next time.